Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskritya. Naram Chaiva Narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyasam. Tojayam Mudirayat. Nasta Prayesha Bhadreshu. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavat Utama Shloke. Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. Srimad Bhagavatam, 7th Canto, Chapter 9, Text number 8. Shri Pralad Uvacha. Pramadaya. Suragana. Munayo. Atta. Siddha. Sattvaikatana. Gatayo. Vachasam. Pravahai. Naraditam. Purugunaya. Adunapi. Pipru. Kim. Toshtum. Arati. Sa. Me. Hari. Ugrajate. Sri Pralad Uvacha. Okay. Sri Pralad Uvacha. Pralad Maharaj prayed. Brahma Adaya, headed by Lord Brahma. Suraganaha, the inhabitants of the upper planetary systems. Munaya, the great saintly persons. Atta, as well, like the four Kumaras and others. Siddha, who have attained perfection or full knowledge. Sattva, to spiritual existence. Ekatana Gataya, who have taken without diversion to any material activities. Vachasam, of descriptions or words. Pravahai, by streams. Na, not. Araditum, to satisfy. Puruganai, although fully qualified. Aduna, until now. Api, even. Pipru, were able. Kim arhati, whether. Toshtum, to become pleased. Arati, is able. Sa, he, the Lord. Me, my. Hari, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Ugrajate, whom born in an Asuric family. Translation. Prahlad Maharaj prayed, how is it possible for me, who have been born in a family of Asuras, to offer suitable prayers to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead? Even until now, all the demigods headed by Lord Brahma and all the saintly persons could not satisfy the Lord by streams of excellent words, although such persons are very qualified, being in the mode of goodness. Then what to be said of me, I am not at all qualified. Purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. A Vaishnava who is fully qualified to serve the Lord still thinks himself extremely low while offering prayers to the Lord. For example, Krishnadas Kaviraj, the author of Chaitanya Charitamrita, says, Jagai Madai Haite Muni Sepa Pishta Purushara Kita Haite Muni Sela Gishta. Adi Lila 205, Chapter 5. Thus he considers himself unqualified, lower than worms and stool, and more sinful than Jagai and Madai. A pure Vaishnava actually thinks of himself in this way. Similarly, although Prahlad Maharaj was pure exalted Vaishnava, he thought himself most unqualified to offer prayers to the Supreme Lord. Mahajano yena gata sapanta. Every pure Vaishnava should think like this. One should not be falsely proud of his Vaishnava qualifications. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is therefore instructed, Janadapi sanichena, Charorapi sahishnuna, Amani na mani dena, kirtaniya sada hari. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than a straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. Unless one is meek and humble, to make progress in spiritual life is very difficult. Om Jnana Timirandasya Gana Gana Shalakaya Chaksuramilitanyena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sajjajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Shri Chaitanya Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharane Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desatarane Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Iti Namane Madhur Jojala Premaja Shri Rupa Nuga Bhaktida Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namo Varshavanavi Devi Dayataya Kripabdaye Krishna Sambandha Vigyana Dayane Prabhave Namaha Namaste Gauravani Shri Murtaye Dinatarane Rupa Nuga Viruda Apasadanta Dvanta Harane Namo Gaurakishoraya Satchit Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Rasambode Padambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhakti Vinodaya Satchidananda Namane Shri Gora Karuna Shakti Rupa Nuga Varayate Gora Virbhave Bhume Stvam Nirdesta Sajjana Priya Vaishnava Sarva Bhoma Jagannataya Te Namaha Vanchakalpa Turubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnave Bhyo Namo Namaha Panchatatmakam Krishnam Bhakti Rupa Sarupakam Bhaktavarup Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakti Shaktikam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Sudato Pangor Mama Mandir Matergati Matsarvasya Padambojo Shishi Radha Madan Mohano Divyad Kalpa Drumada Shiman Rasa Shishi Radha Govinda Devo Prestalibi Sevyamano Smarami. Jai. Forgot. All right, so we have Prahlad is praying in humility, and we find all the great acharyas pray like that. He considered himself the most fallen. But one should not think, proudly, I'm very fallen, but Krishna, we have proof here, myself as proof, that Lord Chaitanya has caused us mercy, that he picks up the most fallen. But still, we can become proud very easily of our position. So Prahlad is thinking, how can I do it? But then the Lord helps him. And the Lord was very happy with his prayers because he was not afraid of him. He was not proud of himself. He just had love for the Lord. So devotees, we should Trinadapi Sunichena. Lord Chaitanya gave us that verse. He said we should wear it around our neck. And always remember that we're very low because we took birth in the material world, so obviously we're not very advanced. But we had some fallen condition. But we read Narottam Das always feeling very fallen, although he's the most exalted. And those exalted qualities is what attracts people. Of course, here we're talking about the demigods. A few verses from now talks about the Brahman that has all Brahminical qualifications, but he's not a devotee. So like Narottam, he was preaching very wonderfully in his humble way, and he attracted brahmanas, puffed up pundits that, were, and then first it was two young boys. They were the sons of one big pundit. They were herding goats and taking them to the Durga temple. But then Ramachandra and Narottam started talking really loud about different things and attracted the boys, and they listened to them, and he told them, let the goats go and come with us. They stayed at the temple for some time. They became devotees. Then they were going around, and they passed this one big pundit, Narayan. And at first he didn't recognize them. Then he said, yeah, these are these two boys, but they look so much different. They're so effulgent, and they have this radiance. So he asked them, and then they preached to him, and he was, like, in that area, the most prominent pundit, puffed up, being honored by everybody. But he became enamored by their preaching, so he went and got initiated by Narottam. And others also. So the Brahmin community, they were very upset. He said, this is not Varnashram, he's a Sudra, and he's initiating Brahmanas. How can that be? That's not proper, right? Because they didn't understand, what is what. So, but he was completely humble and just trying to serve his guru and serve Lord Chaitanya's mission, just constantly glorifying. We have many examples like that. I've been reading the gopis. The gopis consider themselves also not advanced. None of the gopis consider themselves the most fortunate. They're just praying that they can have some chance to render a little service to Krishna. And they're always performing Nama Sankirtan. They're chanting the name of Krishna, they're singing songs about the glories of Krishna, no matter what they're doing. They're cooking, or they're taking care of the cows, or their babies, or their husbands. Whatever they do, they're always just singing songs about Krishna. And it's referred to as Nama Sankirtan. So if we can't think of any glorious prayers, like Prahlad made wonderful prayers because the Lord touched him on the head, but Dhruva Maharaj also couldn't speak. He was stunned in front of the Lord, but then he got touched by the conch shell, and he gave beautiful prayers also. But they're all praying in the same way, that they don't want anything except bhakti, service to Krishna. So this is our mission. Srila Prabhupada has given us exactly Lord Chaitanya's message. And he's given us a Nam Sankirtan, which is basically kirtan, sankirtan. Kirtan means maybe one person glorifying the Lord. Sankirtan means everybody. And the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Hare.
everybody.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
So we can make this worthwhile. I should mention, maybe everybody's seen yesterday when Mataji, who was killed, left her body in Radhakund in a car accident. Her name was Vraja Balavi, disciple of Indraduna Swami, and from the reaction, the comments, she was very well loved. She was a very dynamic devotee in so many ways, so we can pray for her safe passage. It should be guaranteed anyway, because she was on her way to the Govardhan retreat, and somehow or other Krishna took her. So these things happen. It's auspicious for her, and we can understand it. For many devotees are missing. She was very, very dynamic leader of the youth in Australia and everything. But that's the way it goes. So anyway, Prahlad is thinking, how can I glorify the Lord? Like we might think sometimes, how can I do something so many other people tried? Prabhupada tells us how he was thinking, my godbrothers have tried and they have failed in the Western world. So he said they failed in England, so he'd go to America and fail there. His humility was just like this, that his prayers that just before he arrived, I have no qualification, I have only faith in the holy name, but if Krishna wishes, he can use me. This is what and Krishna tells Arjuna, Nimitta matram bhavasajana, Arjuna. Become an instrument. Krishna told Arjuna, everybody's already killed, the battle, whether you do it or not, it's already done. So you should just do the work. And that's how we ultimately devotees feel. If we think I am the doer, then we get in trouble. I have qualifications, but Prabhupada always said his only qualification was that he took the order of his spiritual master and tried to follow it. So we have that order of Prabhupada. Of course, I just saw a book, the history of this temple, beautiful book that the Daivi Shakti made. It's amazing, but from the very beginning, everything that happened, it's quite miraculous. And Krishna just helped Prabhupada because he had this desire to do these things. So now we have this temple, and it's become, when it opened, Prabhupada was saying, who will come to a temple so far away? Because actually it was far away from Vrindavan town. It's not really very far, but at that time there wasn't anything in between. There was nothing in between in the highway, But Krishna Balaram attracted everybody. Prabhupada put them here, Gaur-Nitai and Krishna Balaram, to show the world that Gaur-Nitai is Krishna and Balaram. They're the same. So we can take, Prabhupada was so happy. We have pictures. He did that first artik for Krishna and Balaram. He was so blissful. I remember throwing the water and all these things, just so happy. And when he spoke afterward, I don't remember anything he said, but he was just so blissful. In a short speech he gave with a megaphone, standing here. And the first class he gave that night, this fan was making all kinds of noise. And it took some time to find a switch. As the temple just opened that afternoon, So finally they turned off the fan. Then Prabhupada said he wanted Srimad Bhagavatam first canto or something. And he couldn't find a book. So he said, okay, Bhagavad-Gita. Then he said chapter 9. And he said, if you read chapter 9 of the Bhagavad-Gita, you'll be free from envy. So, and that's what he lectured on 9, I don't know what verse. But he was saying that we think because we have a fan, there's no problem. You know, it's hot, so we have a fan and it cools it. But actually, we have a fan because there's a problem. Very simple things. Prabhupada could explain everything in such a simple way. Why do you need a fan? Why do we need air conditioning? Why do we need? Because we're cold, we're hot, right? We're suffering. Why now the Western world, a city will be rated by, what's the ratio of doctors to population? Now, this is a very good city. We have so many hospitals, so many pharmacies, but why? So you don't have to worry, right? But people get sick, we die. We don't read about hospitals in Goloka or in Krishna book, because people didn't get sick. They had doctors, but very rarely needed. Even recently, Lokanath Swami is saying when he grew up in the village, one doctor would come around about once a month. And basically nobody needed a doctor. Recently they opened a clinic, big ceremony in the village, because everybody needs a doctor now, because they're not doing anything natural. So if we can somehow be like Prahlad and in a humble state of mind, and this in Lord Chaitanya's prayer, which we find so many times referred to by Srila Prabhupada, amanina manadena, offering all respect to others, but no false ego, not expecting anything in return. And that's mode of goodness. If we read Bhagavad-Gita, is always not expecting anything, doing things out of duty because it should be done, because it's the right thing, not expecting anything in return. Transcendental, we want to be transcendental, that we're doing it for Krishna, not just doing our daily duties, taking care of our family or whatever, but offering everything to Krishna without expecting anything in return. Like the gopis, they're the primary example. The descriptions of in the Bhagavatam, in the 10th canto, and Brihad Bhagavatamrita is expanding those things so much. The glorious position of the gopis, because they have this, they only care about pleasing Krishna. And even when Krishna reciprocates, which he does, you can't avoid that. If you give to Krishna, he's going to give back. But maybe not material things, but he'll give us himself, ultimately. Bhakti is not given to just anybody. Mystic powers and good karma, and Krishna will give pretty easily. But bhakti he doesn't give to anyone easily, because he's giving himself. He becomes a servant of the real devotees, and he's with them all the time then. So the gopis, Krishna would reciprocate millions of times more than what they'd give him, but they wouldn't want that. They wouldn't think, okay, Krishna's happy with me. They just want to give more to Krishna. That's a humble state of mind. That everyone should be like that, even in mundane life. If someone does something for you, or gives you something, we should want to reciprocate. Right? It becomes like a contest. That's Vedic culture. Not like, okay, thank you very much, like ordinary people are. You should have given it sooner, and this is not what I wanted, or you didn't give enough, or something. But no, thankful, grateful, and then ultimately Krishna is giving everything. he gives Prahlad, he gave him the ability to speak. Of course, Prahlad, he knew everything, but he was just in a humble state of mind, so he couldn't remember all these things. Krishna empowers people to offer beautiful prayers, and some, like in very unexpected people sometimes. Like Jagai and Madai, after they were saved, and Madai met Lord Nityananda, and he offered so much prayer as he was telling all about the previous incarnations and so many things, just on and on and on. Madai, that there was just recently before that was a most rowdy, drunken debauch. But he, of course, had been raised in a Brahmin family, so he must have heard all these things in the past. So if we go on hearing about Krishna, then we can fill up our mind with detox. Nowadays detox is very popular, right? Detox your body, but nobody talks about detoxing the mind. Toxic means poison. So for the body, depending on, there's different ways to purge the body, or clean the blood, or whatever, so many different things. But for the mind, when it gets overloaded, even overloaded with useless things, like nowadays, the information age, but the treatment is mantra, that free the mind. And the only mantra that's really, really ultimately effective is this Maha Mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So Krishnadas Kaviraj is mentioned here. He was saying he's lower than, he said he was so humble, he said if anyone even hears my name, they'll become toxified, or it's not, even to know about me, to even think about me is not good. This is, abject humility. That humility is what produces prema. Humility, of course, is service attitude. When someone only wants to serve, that's what all the great devotees, when Krishna, the ones who are fortunate enough to actually come face to face, and Krishna offers them, they just want service. They want to be with devotees. They want to hear the glories of the Lord. We can hear the glories of the Lord. We can speak the glories of the Lord. We have all facility to do that. We should all be doing that as much as possible. The world is crazy nowadays. It's always been crazy, the material world, but Kali Yuga is moving very fast at the moment. Kali, we read in Chaitanya Mangal, he's panicking, him and his associates, before Lord Chaitanya's appearance, that he's going to come and spread this chanting of the holy name, and what are we going to do? How are we going to carry on with our promotion of sinful activities, right? So they started planning and working on it. So they work hard, the demons work very hard, and they cheating people like anything. They like self-realization. Before I met devotees, there was talk of self-realization, self-realization fellowship or something. And some idea, the self. Of course, Atma can mean the body, can mean the mind, or the soul, or the Supreme Soul. So real self-realization is to know our relationship with the Supreme Soul as a servant. But now, if you go around Vrindavan, these whether phones or cameras, whatever they are, they're all advertising that they have the best selfie. One of them actually said, know your real self. This one is so clear. This one has a flash even, so you can take a selfie at night. So they're really, using these spiritual words that talk about different things, that come from Bhagavad-Gita, they come from, spiritual yoga and everything, but they use it for anything and everything. So we need to give people the real thing, that to hear about Krishna from the right source, from the parampara, then we can realize our real self as a spirit soul. Even Sanatana Goswami was saying, I don't know who I am. People think I'm a wise pundit, so that he was also very humble. They were so humble that Lord Chaitanya picked them up and said, it's embarrassing, too humble, You're my servants. So he's saying, I don't, everybody calls me pundit. He was very learned, Sanskrit and Persian language and, all the scriptures. But he said, I don't even know who I am. So that was his first question to Lord Chaitanya. So Lord Chaitanya told him, Jiver Swarup Hoy, Yachara Krishna Das, that every jiva is the eternal servant of Krishna. He didn't tell him, what his swarup was in the spiritual world or anything, because that's the real swarup, his service. Servant of Krishna. Everyone is a servant, and then Krishna becomes a servant of his servants also. So you go on and on about all the different devotees, who've got understanding. If you read Brihad Bhagavatamrita, it's recommended. First, Narada Muni, he sees a very nice brahmana, thinks he's the best devotee, or the most, and he says, no, the king is better, and on, all the way up to, through all the demigods, Hanuman, Prahlad, finally Dwarka, and Uddhava, and then the gopis, right? Then Gopakumar, he has a journey where he actually becomes a great king, he becomes Indra, he becomes Brahma, and never satisfied, because that's not his real position. And, big positions in the material world. Finally, he's back to Goloka in his cowherd boy form. And Krishna is very happy to see him. So we have so much Prabhupada has given us, it's inconceivable. Just any one of Prabhupada's books is inconceivable. We heard yesterday, right? Actually, there's many stories like that. People became devotees just by reading a book that they found somewhere. In Russia especially, that happened. But we still want to, then Prabhupada also made a society where we can get together and practice what's in the books and enliven each other, because discussing the Bhagavatam amongst devotees, everybody has their own realizations that anyone else can benefit from. A humble devotee wants to hear from anybody, what is your realization? How, about the glories of chanting the holy name, or the glories of reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And Prabhupada especially gave us a Krishna book, which is Srimad Bhagavatam. Normally, it's said you're not supposed to read that till you've read all the 9 cantos and realized everything. But Prabhupada, he wanted the pastimes of Krishna to be revealed to the world. Just like Krishna, he wanted to reveal them. So he was thinking, I haven't shown this for a long time. I haven't been here. And so he, once in every day of Brahma, he comes to Vrindavan and manifests these things for everybody to see. But not everybody can understand them. So Prabhupada wanted everybody to have that. He didn't know if he could actually finish all the other cantos. So he made a special effort and made the Krishna book. And he somehow weaved in all the because he was fully realized on the rest of the Bhagavatam, who is Krishna, and how everyone else is, all the other incarnations are incarnations. Krishna is the source of all the incarnations. Krishna is the source of everything. Aham sarvasya prabhavo matak sarvam pravartate. Material and spiritual, everything is coming from Krishna. He says that, or Brahma says it, everybody says it. So, and Prabhupada would read that book. I saw him several times sitting in his garden just reading Krishna book. Somebody read it to him and relishing it. And many devotees found him by himself as servants, just reading. He said, "This is a very nice book, isn't it?" He asked Ridananda, "Have you read this?" He said, "It's very good, isn't it?" He said, "I want to see what Krishna has written." And he also said, see, the Krishna book, it doesn't have sloka and purport, all that. The purport is just merged in there. The philosophy is just merged in with the stories. So it may look like stories. Anybody can read it. It's not like a big challenging with all kinds of Sanskrit and everything. But anybody can read it, but they get all these purports are just blended in. Prabhupada himself mentioned it's very brilliant, but he didn't take credit for it. So if we can meditate, of course, Prabhupada also, how he got this temple built, all the different things that occurred, all the different people that worked on it, and how they came about. Like Sarabi Prabhu, he just joined in Bombay or something, and a couple days later, Prabhupada, heard that he was some kind of a designer, and he just told him to design a temple. And he showed him some pictures of temples in Jaipur, and he did it. Is it totally empowered? And then somehow they managed to get this built. And in those days, it's hard enough to do anything in India now, but in those days it was really difficult. Everything was cheating, and there was a lot of opposition from local people and everything. But Prabhupada just had total faith in the Guru and Krishna, that Krishna's doing everything, and in that way he could inspire all of us, all devotees, and still going on. So many devotees all over the world are spreading the holy name in all different ways, using all the media, using everything. I was in Bombay, I visited the ISKCON Desire Tree. They have, I can't remember those numbers, but they had a plaque they got from YouTube. Congratulations, you have 100,000 followers, subscribers. But actually they have 220,000. And it's very interesting. He said every day, 500,000 minutes of video are downloaded from ISKCON Desire Tree. Imagine that. There's so many devotees working. There's like 20 or 30 there, just video editors. They get all this video stuff, and he was saying every devotee should have these accounts. Be putting stuff up all the time. We can reach out to either you reach one person or you can reach many. If you put up nice pictures, people get attracted. And another thing is, like, I don't know who's ever looked at YouTube. If you go to anything, Maharishi Yogi or something, but on the side there'll be other things that you might be interested in. So there'll be a Hare Krishna, somebody, Indradunva Swami lecture or something. He said 45% of the people that come to their YouTube come from that. They're actually looking at something else, but then they look down the side. And we have to be careful when we look at Krishna and see all the other stuff on the side. And don't get caught up in that. But so it's something, we can all get out and reach very big audiences and give them, the absolute mercy. Anyone can do it. We all might think like Prahlad a little bit, how can I do anything? I'm no good. But we have to be careful between humility and low self-esteem. Humility means I'm not good, but Krishna's wonderful, and if I join the parampara and I follow, then they can kindly use me to do something useful. Low self-esteem means I'm no good, I can't do anything, I won't do anything. It's actually false ego and laziness, but it's very common these days. People don't know. Humility means I have to depend on Krishna, right? Nothing else. That Satchidananda Swami was saying the other day. When you take shelter, when you know there's no other shelter, right? Ashraya, no other shelter than the holy name, and spreading the holy name especially. That's how we really get shelter of the holy name, to do whatever we can to spread it. Tell everybody, chant Hare Krishna. Can you say Krishna, People appreciate. All right, so if there's any comment or question, I wanted to mention we have a nice guest here today, Sarvabhauma Prabhu. He was the first devotee to sell 100 books in Chicago. He stayed out all night, first at the airport all day, and then I don't know where he went all night. Prabhupada he said, that boy did very nicely. He worked so hard, and he's distributed 100 books. So Krishna is rewarding him at the fag end of his life. Come to Vrindavan. And there's so many wonderful devotees who've done such wonderful things. And they know that Krishna is actually doing everything. Just because we make an effort, Krishna will help us. So please make effort, everybody, and pray that we can all, do more and we can really become humble. That humility is what gets everybody. That's what touches the heart. When a devotee is really humble and he's just completely depending on Krishna, then whatever way we're approaching people, whether it's kirtan or lecture or painting or anything, it'll affect the heart of the audience. Okay? Yes, sir? That's touch of it? Okay. Shri Krishna Balaram Ki Jai.
One topic you spoke about is humility and the devotee's feeling that, I'm not very qualified. I'd like to ask you to comment some more on that in light of what I heard. Yesterday, some devotees told me that there was a lot of tension generated at the end of class because one devotee was asking a question and another devotee was answering and not letting the other devotee speak. So I wasn't here, but I heard that some devotees supported the speaker who was saying, don't speak, I'm speaking, I'm telling you. And I'd like to know what you...
Oh, that was here? I don't remember that. Huh? Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, that was good reason, because the answers it was a mixed up kind of question. So, but that particular question could require a lot of discussion, because it depends on, we don't know why. Because there are devotees who say you can't read Prabhupada's books until somebody else explains them to you first or something. But we all experienced reading Prabhupada's books coming out of the garbage, ourselves coming out of the garbage. Some people literally finding books in the garbage and becoming devotees, or at least get on the right track. But then, of course, we want association with devotees, to expand the whole thing. That's why Prabhupada made a society, not just books. He didn't come just to be a big bookseller, make a lot of money or get famous. He also made the society, and he organized everything so that we can approach more people, have places where people can come and hear. So So Bhadranayan just told a story to finish it off of one boy in Russia that, he found a book. He lived in a very degraded family, and he just he cleaned up his house, cleaned up his room, he made his own deity, carved it. He was an artist. And he asked Indradutta Maharaj, I just offer incense and whatever, is that all right? So there's many stories like that. But then, of course, Krishna arranged you can meet devotees also and hear more and more and open up the book more and more. So that was the point, that the book is sufficient. We don't need, we can't say we can't distribute Prabhupada's books because people can't understand them. That was the basic, right?
That wasn't my question.
No, something like that.
Can you become self-realized by reading the book without the association with Prabhupada?
Yeah, well, you didn't say that association. You had to hear from a pure devotee, but Prabhupada is a pure devotee. So if we can hear from him directly, but then we want to associate with other devotees, because Prabhupada liked to hear from devotees. Prabhupada had devotees give class when he's sitting right there, and he would appreciate it. Is that all right? What does that mean? That's an Indian. Anyone else? Yeah.
As technology is developing, and we download the books, videos and everything. So this, how then we can distribute more books when there's so much technology advancement and every people they are loading the books and other things. So distribution, how you can compare the distribution of the books and why media we are getting this?
You mean the digital books and the printed books, right? Well, that's an issue with the booksellers of the world. They have to go digital also. So if you look on Amazon, most books have a digital, copy. But, so that's also a book. If people are reading, like I generally read, unless I have really good lighting from the iPad or something, because I can make the print really big and can see it. But it's still the same book. But people still like printed books, and we're selling more and more books, and many people don't access all this digital stuff. So we just have to think of, anyway, all the different ways we can distribute. Like the BBT, they made all the digital books, spoken books, all the different ways that anybody wants, you get it. It's the same thing, but you get it in a different package, in a different way. And some people, they just hear, but that's all right also. The recorded message. We have Prabhupada's, like we have, Amala Bhakta reading the whole Bhagavatam and all the books. And, that's a big advantage in Kali Yuga. We distribute all this kind of stuff, and give people a chance to have access anywhere and everywhere. Because here, I have all the books, right? But how many books can I carry? The airline now, they're so fussy about everything, maybe carry one book, right? But here we can research and everything, so it's good to promote all that also. And that just makes more devotees. All right? Okay, so I think a couple more minutes, and my watch is a little slow today, I think. Badri? You usually have something to say. It's very nice to see you coming to class every day. It's a good example.
Not always.
Well, I said in Mayapur you're always there. I'm not anywhere else to see it. Okay? Finish? Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai.